You know, it's as you're trying to liken it to what we're going through now. If people are talking about fighting corruption and they still put the blame on the doorsteps of the present administration of President Goodluck Jonathan, it's not as if corruption started with his administration. But
yes,
if you're the main man in charge for now, you're answerable to the people. And that is why the representatives of the people are saying that, look, well, you have to answer to all of this. And they also talked about careless or flippant statements, which they say is also responsible for. They say the officials, government officials, should be circumspect in their public statements, especially those that have capital market implications. And in particular, the governors of central bank should refrain from making utterances with far-reaching negative effects on the capital market.
I agree.
So you agree with that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. Yes. I mean, we have to be careful what we say. There are certain statements you make, obviously, that affects the market. I agree. I mean, I'm not saying that they should not make comments, but you have to weigh it very well. Because you might make a certain comment. You may mean well, but the effect may be devastating.
If you look at, the appearance when the DG of SEC appeared with her other members at the operating level, there was the head of legal, there was the head of human resources, there was also one of her director of operations, as it were. And that particular appearance, when she was being asked questions on Project 50, what impression did you get?
Well, on this issue of Project 50, that was exactly the why she was sent on compulsory leave, to enable an independent body investigate this. One of the reasons that the House of Reps Committee gave was this Project 50. But it's been cleared. The independent body that investigated it has ruled that there was no element of fraud or any financial wrongdoing on her part. It's in the report. And that was the only reason for her suspension. And she was brought back by the government. And honestly, I must be honest with you, I commend the president and the minister for standing behind her on this matter. If there were other reasons, okay. But if this was the only reason why the board suspended her,
how logical is it? How logical can that be? Now, let's bring a little bit of logic. Now, you're a lawyer. I attend maybe Boys High School A and I'm being suspended. Then Boys High School B is recalling me from the suspension.
No, I don't think it's a question of Boys High School A and B. Right now, there's no board. And whenever there's no board, the minister acts as the board. That's the problem. Or we should be talking about let the board be reconstituted. But once there is no board, it is the minister. In every other ministry, it's the minister who acts.
Don't you think that the board should have been reconstituted?
I agree entirely. This kind of thing, it is not good to let most of these sensitive bodies go without any board, for a very, very long time. Right now, many of the parastatals have no boards. And I think that the government really ought to.
So you agree that the board should have been reconstituted before her recall?
No. I'm not talking about before her recall. The board should have been reconstituted before now. Nothing to do with her recall. But the report of the auditors came out, of the investigators came out, which cleared her as to financial wrongdoing. And we need to have the DG in place.
Would it have affected us? Sorry, Mark, but would it have affected us if we had waited to reconstitute another board and give them the findings of the committee and say, this is our finding? Please recall this lady.
Ideally, the board, I wish that they reconstituted the board that same day.
Because the government seemed to be, basking in the euphoria of making mistakes. If they had done all of that, I don't think people would be complaining about her being recalled.
Well, I believe that...
Because in any case, the crux of the matter is about her being recalled by the government instead of the board.
No, I have just explained to you that when there is no board, the minister overseeing that particular agency acts like for the board. That's the practice and then part of the law.
That is the practice, but what we're saying is that you've also said that that the audit committee that did a job on that Project 50 has cleared up every wrongdoing. We also recall that when the federal government was recalling her, she was given a strong caution to abide by administrative procedures. do you think that could have been a fault on her side? Because for your commissioners to say they know nothing about a particular project that the entire organization is supposed to be going through, doesn't it say something about leadership?
I even from what we have read, even from the website of SEC and what we know, I don't think that statement is very correct. Because we do know that a number of the commissioners took part in that Project 50 celebration. They appeared on television. So it's not quite correct to say that they knew nothing about it. If they knew nothing, why did they go and take part? Many of them were captured even addressing the event. So it suits people to come and say what they want to say.
So are you saying that that was malicious?
It could be. I mean, people have their objectives in trying to do what they want, what they're doing. I don't know what was working in their minds, but definitely, I do not think that the picture that was painted at that hearing was exactly the way things were working. Because even though there may have been some differences between them, but they were all involved. They were all taking part in what was happening, and they cannot deny that they knew anything about it. No, it's not, because the evidence is there. If you go to the SEC website now, you'll see one of the commissioners who denied addressing that particular event.
Well, we almost rounding off this one. As she resumes today, and you saw the placards carrying members of staff of the commission, what do you expect of the staff as well as the DG as she resumes today?
To be honest with you, I pray and wish that they would allow her do her work.
Is it they or she allowing them be? Because some say they just might be victimized.
I don't know. Well. I will also appeal to her. Usually, staff will have the right to vent their displeasure, anger, anything. But in my personal view, honestly, that demonstration was unnecessary. It was unnecessary. Because, I mean, look at the report. Their anger, from what they were saying, that they should have waited for the House of Reps to finish what they are doing. And the House of Reps has no locus in deciding whether she stays or not stays. It is Senate. Even to remove her under the law, the president will have to make a recommendation to the Senate, and the Senate must confirm her removal. Otherwise, she cannot go. Unless the Senate says remove her. And the Senate is an arm of the National Assembly. So when we play out some of these things, we should also try to, they are lawmakers, they should also try to look at the law and comply with the law.
Do you have any confidence in the market now?
I would never say I don't have confidence in the market. It's just that there are problems. But I believe that with the right atmosphere, and I think that we are causing more and more damage to the market, honestly. The way these things are done, from Hembe to this one, we are creating more and more doubt in the market.
So in other words, we shouldn't have done this probe in the very first instance. It was totally unnecessary?
Well, when last time I came here and I was asked this question, I said, no, the probe is good to find out what happened, but let it be done in the right spirit with the aim of finding out what happened and to prevent reoccurrence. But once you start with hunting people, good. I'm not saying that if there's any wrongdoing on anybody's part, you ignore it. But they needed to have focused more on what caused the near crash, and even look at the measures already taken. I didn't see in the summary of the report that I read that they even make comments on the measures already in place to try to revamp the place. I didn't see any comment on that. And there are several committees have been set up, and they've been working. The new codes have come out. I didn't see a comment on that. And go and read it. The rules have been revised.
That is in summary that you read in this 78-page report. We will believe that there will be mentions
like
of
I
that.
said, it is summary that I have. I haven't read this, but I'm hoping that that is true. But honestly, I think that everybody needs to work together, whether it's the House or SEC. If any public officer does not do his work, of course. But nobody's perfect. Wow. We all make mistakes. But it's also important to understand that those who are there are prone to resisting changes. We all know that. But if the changes are for good or for the betterment of the market, anybody who's resisting that change ought to be weeded out.